something good. Listen, we are getting so quickly into a new year. I just wanted to come and hit you with a few things that hopefully will do you good, make you feel good, will make you see good, will make you want to be good. And hopefully, as we move through this year, understand that God is still working all things together for good. Listen, one of the things that I would love to tell you again is, will you please take the time to share and to like? If these podcasts are doing anything for you, just let me know. Listen, come down there and put a few comments. I realize I'm new to this, but I really want to connect with you in this new year. And I believe as we move into this year, I'm going to learn, you're going to learn, we're going to live, and we're going to show and tell people something good. Listen, we're in a new year, and one of the things that I've come to grips with is that we are people who are all faced with transactions. Now, I hear people say transitions. No, transactions. That there's an exchange of information or something for good or service for the betterment of our life. We are transactional and transitional beings. That we conduct activities between one another that hopefully will in turn empower us, educate us, engage us to move forward. But then we are transitional beings. Listen, if you've no doubt come through into this new year, you realize you're not in yesterday and you're not in tomorrow yet. And because of that, you need to be faced with, I call, with some transactional truths. First off, some things aren't worth it. It is amazing to me that I'm learning as I go into this new year that I should have learned a little bit better last year. There's just some things that are not worth fussing and fighting over. It ain't worth it. You know, my grandchildren will maybe over the holidays, and every now and then they will get into a little tussle. I got one who's a little older. He's now in that place where everything's his. I got one who's, she don't know. She just see a toy. And I've had to remind the little one who's a little older, listen, it ain't worth it. It's not worth it to be fighting over a toy. And can I tell you something? This transactional truth, as you move into this year, make sure what you're fighting is worth fighting for. Listen, if it's your marriage, that's worth fighting for. If it's your peace of mind, that's worth fighting for. But if it's somebody being foolish and crazy, let them be foolish and crazy. Because one thing about a foolish and crazy person is they ain't going to be any less foolish or crazy after you're dealing with them. And many times we find ourselves in transactions with foolish people. And this is the truth. There's some things that ain't worth fighting for. But then, not only are there transitional truths in that fact, but then there's a place where you may have to face some hard facts. There are some things that cost you consideration, and you really have to ponder. I've not been on a whole lot of jobs, but there comes a place in your life when you may need to make a life change, a hard truth. Here are a few that I made. The first hard truth that I made is when I became a believer. Before the Lord saved me, I was an alcoholic. I was one who would be prone to drinking, and I had to face a hard truth. Apart from Jesus Christ, I could not stop drinking. Apart from the community of faith, I could not stop drinking. But I had to have a transactional truth that I had to get serious with myself. That for me to do this deal, I had to deal with me. And for many of you, you have wanting deals done around you, but you won't deal with you. You're going to have to be dealt with if you truly want to see great things in your life. Either you got to put on something, you got to put off something, you have to learn something, you have to forget something, but you are the key to your success in that regard. Listen, there's some things that are not worth fighting for, but there's some things when you find that you got to fight you. You will be your greatest enemy, your greatest obstacle. And if you don't get this transactional truth down, you will miss opportunities and you'll see everything as opposition and you won't do what God or even life is trying to give you. That's a transactional truth. But can I tell you something? One of the things you got to deal with is the truth of the matter. So in the case of me, for salvation, I realized I had to give my life to the Lord. But then I need to help people with the reality. You have a shelf life. You know, I've been going to the store, and one of the things over the holidays that I'm confronted with is, they bring stuff on a seasonal basis. You don't see eggnog all year. You don't see certain things all year. They have a season. And I'm learning that I got a season. That's a transactional truth. That's a transitional truth that I'm having to confront myself. There was a day this bald head had a lot of hair. But guess what? It's not there anymore. And I can sit around here and be mad, but guess what? My hair had a shelf life. And here's the truth of the matter. My best days may be behind me and not in front of me. That don't mean I don't still have some good days in front of me, but I'm learning that I want to be at my optimum, which means I've got to be honest about my shelf life. And for some of you, hear you, Bishop, hear your friend, I'm telling you something good. Why go out stale when you can still be used being fresh? Listen, you just got to face the facts. The things you used to do, you can't do anymore. And there's nothing wrong with having an effective shelf life. I was telling someone, I recently looked at a documentary on Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders quit football at the height of his career because he realized, listen, I only got a short shelf life, and I'm going to use it the way I want to use it. And when he quit, he never went back. Here's my thing. When you understand your shelf life, when you leave, you ain't got to go back. You can always remember how you left. You can remember what you did. And can I tell you something? If you did what you did at such a level, can I tell you something? The legend about you going to grow even after you leave. Barry Sanders had people twisted all around. Now he'd be, well, he can't play today. He don't have to play today. The film showed he was a bad man in his day. For some of you, I would rather be a bad man in my day than be a man that people forget in this day. I know that's tough. But as I come to the new year, I'm learning. I am not going to do what I ain't meant to do, and I'm not going to do what I can't do. But I got to deal with me in that regard. Last thing I want to tell you, if you're going to have this transactional truth and this transitional truth, you may have to help somebody who will do better than you. One of the things that we have a problem with is being just prideful people. I don't care about you doing well. I just don't want you to do as well as me. Can I tell you something? That maybe you can be the shoulder, the stepping stone to help someone be the best they can be. And here's the truth of the matter, that in their being good, they may not remember you. And you ought to be comfortable with that. Now listen, I realize that people say, well, they ought to give me some acknowledgement. They ought to acknowledge me. Okay. My ego's a little fragile as well. I want people to always remember me. I want us to have a cheers moment. I want everybody to know my name. But here's the truth of the matter. People forget me half the time when I just left the room. Listen, after you watch this podcast, you may forget it. And if you're not prepared to help someone go higher than you, I'm sad to say that maybe God won't use you. Moses had to give it to Joshua. Saul fought David, and listen to how it happened to him. I'm challenging some of you today to say in this first part of the year, listen, I'm going to realize there's some things not worth fighting for. There's some things I'm going to have to deal with. I'm going to be prepared to have some transactional truth. I'm prepared to understand that life is filled with swift transitions. Life don't need me to live, but if life gives me strength, I'm going to live the best life. And when I can't live that best life, I'm going to help someone live their best life. Again, I tell you, I have grandbabies. My grandbabies are now just starting their life. And now I realize in the day of all this technology and all these things happening, that I may be giving them an advantage and they're not even aware of it. Well, that's a transactional and a transitional truth. But I also close with this. I'm prepared to sit down. Because we are who we are, and many times people want to be known for what they think they are, they have a hard time sitting down. At some point in our life, the curtain is going to come down. The lights are going to go out. And it's amazing to me that instead of us sitting down and enjoying the show, we won't participate if we can't be star of the show. I need you to understand that if you're going to go into 2023, I don't know what your transactional truth is. I don't know what you're fighting for that you may need to not fight for. I don't know what you got to deal with you, but you need to prepare yourself that this year, God, if you need me to sit down, I'll sit down. And can I tell you something? You can still serve from sitting down. You may not be in the seat that you were in, but you're at least still in the seat in the service. I'm getting ready to have I'm a couple of years off for my next milestone birthday. And the question is, I'm now older to where I can possibly start thinking about retirement. I ain't talking about resignation yet, but I'm coming to a realization that I can be around but I don't have to run around. I can be in the front, but I don't have to be up front. I still have skills, but my skills may not lead to the ultimate success of what I'm doing. I am in transition. Years are moving past. Days are moving past. And I will be strong until I leave. But if the Lord says, sit down, I'll live until I leave. And for many of you, as we start this year, I just want to help you understand, man, live your life. Enjoy your life. But let's just be real in our life. That some of us are fighting over something we should have left in 2023. Some of us need to just have some real conversation. You know right now, a couple of days into 2024, oh, Lord, ooh, man, I'm tired. Ooh, I'm worn. Listen, precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on. Some of us need to realize that, hey, the guy who can take this thing or the young lady who can take this thing further is right here. And instead of me standing in the way, let me open up a way. Then it's the truth of the matter that, Lord, one day you may say to me, I don't need you today. Sit down. And if you really love your life the way you really want to love your life, if you really want to enjoy your life, you got to prepare yourself for some transactional truths and some transitional truths. You can be around, but you're not needed like that. And instead of you feeling offended and put off and mad, just say, hey, I done what he told me to do. Hey, I done the best that I could do. And I'm going to take the knowledge I have to help you be the best you can be. See, that's the point of tell me something good. I realize that, guess what? My best days, which are ahead of me, but a lot fewer than the best days that were behind me. And I'm good with that. Listen, I'm praying that you have a powerful 2024. And I hope that you're writing down. I hope that you're pondering some transitional truths. To those of you who are young, listen, you ain't going to be young always, so work while it is day. To those of you who have that dream, don't forget that you got to wake up, and dreams are sometimes nightmares. And instead of you just doing something to be seen, why don't you make sure that the scene is set so you can be seen? If you wait and work, they'll see. If you make up in your mind that, listen, it is about something bigger than me, I promise you they won't miss you. But if you keep it about something bigger than you, they'll always need you. And I want you to know I believe in something good for you. I believe in something great for you. And as we move into 2024, every time you call me, every time you see me, I'm going to start off like I always do. Tell me something good. This has been Bishop Pelt.